If you are a bookworm like me, then you're going to like this episode. I'm going through my winter edition of What's on My Bookshelf. Welcome to Feng Shui Living, the podcast designed for busy women who want to de-stress, live with intention, and create a home that truly supports their well-being. Each week, I'll bring you practical tips, insightful ideas, and simple strategies to enhance both your home and your life. Let's get started. Well, hello there, and welcome to Feng Shui Living Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Morton, and today's episode is going to be a little less feng shui, holistic design, and a little more personal. I am a big-time bookworm. I love to read, and I love to do the occasional episode of what's on my bookshelf, what I've recently read, what I'm currently reading, and what I'm excited to get started on. These oftentimes do include home decor, interior design, feng shui books, but then also include maybe the occasional fiction book, as well as self-development, business, and entrepreneurship, and probably even more beyond that. But I love to do this episode, and I love to always get feedback from you guys. In my newsletter, I'm going to have links to all of these books that I'm going to discuss today. And maybe you have a recommendation for me. So if you get my newsletter, be sure to respond. Those emails, when you respond to my Wednesday newsletter, they come right back to me. So let me know what you're reading, what you're loving. I actually just found this stat, which I thought was very interesting. The average number of books read per year by an American, sorry to my non-American listeners, but by an American is 12 books per year. I'm curious how you guys feel about that. I know I read more than 12 books per year, but then some of those are also audiobooks. I feel like audiobooks are becoming more and more popular. It's easy to access, and gosh, there's nothing better than getting into a really good audiobook on a long road trip. So just curious what you guys think about that. And with that, we will get into my books that I'm sharing today. All right, this first one I talk about in my book, and it is called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. If you're on YouTube, of course, you can see the covers of the books. I have these here. You can also go check them out over on the newsletter link too. So if you don't get the newsletter, be sure to go into the show notes and sign up to get it. So, The Big Leap. Conquer your hidden fear and take life to the next level. I've read this. I've read the physical copy twice. I've listened to the audiobook twice. Now, if you like audiobooks, this is one I especially like. The gentleman, the author, is Gay Hendricks. He's also the New York Times bestselling author of the book 5 Wishes. And I love his audiobook because he reads it himself and he sounds like this comforting, nurturing grandfather figure. It's just a wonderful experience, especially if you have a long car trip and you want to get through this whole book. It's just like this sweet older gentleman holding your hand through life as he's reading this book. But I really love the concept behind it. And I've also referred this book and shared it with so many people. He has this belief, this theory that when you're working towards your goals in life, you have this upper limit, this limit of how much joy and abundance and creativity that you can reach. And then sometimes when you get to that limit, you have a hiccup. And that could be getting a bug, getting ill, something going wrong. But his theory is that just means you're ready for a breakthrough. And once you acknowledge that, okay, this stuffy nose and me feeling like I'm run down, this is really me hitting an upper limit problem. I actually used this book. I just reread it right before my book launch because I'll tell you, there were some moments I was really nervous about launching the book. What if people don't like it? And I definitely had some upper limit moments, things that were creeping up, and This book had definitely helped me through that. So if you're working on big goals this year, make sure you read this book. All right, number 2. I love books on productivity and organization and just how to get things done really great, really well, and in an organized manner. And this book is called The Plan. Manage Your Time Like a Lazy Genius by Kendra Adachi. This is the second time I read this book. If productivity systems tend to let you down, reading The Plan will be such a relief. I love that. It's big and bold on the back cover. So true. In this book, you discover 2 beliefs that will change your time management forever. Integrate your hormones, personality, and life stages into the planning process, which I think is so important. And also use her lighten the load framework to get your stuff done. If you're feeling stuck, if you've read all kinds of productivity books, then you need to check out this one. And I have 1,000,000 pages dog-eared, and I wanted to share something with you that I love out of this book. So it's all about not everything can matter. You cannot be a genius about everything. You cannot have a robust, joyful, meaningful existence in every area at once, at least not according to the culture's measurements of what that should be. You can't do everything. You can't be everything, and you sure as heck can't do either perfectly. Unfortunately, this unrealistic expectation is still perpetuated in the productivity industry. So even though you know this, and sometimes even live this, I still want to remind you that not everything can matter, and that's okay. In fact, let's normalize letting certain things go for the sake of doing what matters most. The more we do that in community, the more we encourage and inspire each other to pursue true living. So good, so good, so good. So again, The Plan by Kendra Adachi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. All right, the next one is a book I probably would never read. I'll be totally honest. It's not something that I would normally read, but I met the author, Randy Chaffee, who also used my book editor as well as my marketing and design team for my own book. And so I met Randy through them. And he has a really interesting story. His book is Asphalt and Algorithms. So Randy has been in the building, roofing, construction industry for many, many years. And he talks about having to shift. He was this road warrior that was always on the road, traveling to see his clients. You know, when you think of the traditional salesperson back in the day, always on the go, doing all the things, attending all the trade shows. And then COVID hit and he had to regroup. So that's his Asphalt to Algorithms. He had to regroup and learn how to connect with his clients digitally, online, through newsletters and podcasts and all kinds of things. So if you know anyone in sales or this is, at all interesting, Randy created just a really good book. I love some of the stories. It's just really good. So not something I would normally read, but I was so happy I did. Here's one that, I don't really have any Feng Shui books this time, but this was really good too. Becoming Bulletproof by Evie Pomporis. This was so interesting. It's not something I would normally read, but I saw her being interviewed on Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO podcast. I loved her vibe. If you've ever seen her just talk or share her stories as a special agent in the Secret Service, she's just cool. She's one of those cool chicks you'd want to hang out with. She's just a toughie and really fabulous and just inspires you to just I don't know, improve your life and just to live, as she says, live fearlessly. I love that. So Becoming Bulletproof, all kinds of good stories. And she starts off with her experience on 9/11. And wow, did that make an impact? That was the very first chapter. The next book on my list is The Memory Library. I don't read a lot of fiction books, but this one, The Memory Library by Kate Story, I am about, maybe a quarter of the way into it. I like to read fiction before I go to bed. I find that just helps me calm down and my mind relax. And so this is a good one. I typically always default to Kristen Hanna books. If you know of a really good author like Kristen Hanna, because I'll tell you, I've read all her books. And I'm waiting for another one. If you know of a good author that kind of has that Kristen Hanna vibe, let me know. But this is interesting. I'll keep you guys posted on this. And then what's next on my bookshelf to read is a book I found on my husband's bookshelf. He loves to read even more than I do. This guy has shelves and shelves and shelves of business books and entrepreneurship books and, oh my gosh, all kinds of memoirs. But this one is Hidden Potential, The Science of Achieving Greater Things by Adam Grant. He is also the New York Times bestselling author of Think Again. And I pulled this off his shelf and I was thinking, I don't remember seeing that book. And then I opened it. And I read, we live in a world that's obsessed with talent. We celebrate gifted students in school, natural athletes in sports, and child prodigies in music. But admiring people who start out with innate advantages leads us to overlook the distances we ourselves can travel. We underestimate the range of skills that we can learn and how good we can become. We can all improve at improving. And when opportunity doesn't knock, there are ways to build a door. I read that and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to read this. So this is next on my list. And then very last, I couldn't have a list of books without my own, Aligned at Home, that launched in early November. How Feng Shui and holistic design can restore your energy and well-being. I'm going to take on the experience of reading it as though I'd never read it. I haven't gone through it in a while because we did all the cover design and the interior layout and all this stuff. So it has been a little while. So I'm hoping I could really take on that essence of reading it for the first time. So I'm excited to do that. If you want to get a copy of Aligned at Home, pop over to Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. I think you can get it on Walmart.com, Books A Million. But then also, if you want a signed copy, so I'm this person, I'm obsessed with getting signed copies of books by the author. It makes me feel like I'm part of that process and part of the magic. So if you want a signed copy, you can snag one over on my website. I will personally sign it and pop it in the mail to you. So now that we've gone through my list, I want to know what you are reading. So maybe this time of year, you're able to take on an extra book or two, and you're going to have some extra books, more than 12 in your list for the year. I have a couple cool other stats that I found I wanted to share with you real quick. Reading could help reduce mental decline in old age by 32%, reducing stress by up to 68%. And this is even more so than listening to music, having a cup of tea, or taking a walk. That's from the University of Minnesota. That's wild. 19% of readers say spending time with a book makes them feel less lonely. Reading for as little as 6 minutes slows heart rates and eases tension. Lifelong readers have lower rates of Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia than their peers. And 50% of people who read before bed report better sleep than non-readers. I'm a huge believer of that. I have to get in even just like 5 pages before I fall asleep every night. Okay, friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode all about my bookshelf, what's on it, what's coming up. I will see you at our next episode. Take care. Special thanks to our sponsor, Elevated Living School of Holistic Design and Feng Shui. For more information, head over to the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, give us a 5-star review, and share this episode with a friend. We'll see you next time.